So your latest book is titled The Flinch.
Right.
What's the backstory there? I mean, I'm assuming it was born from your own personal experiences.
I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do. On a large scale, you want to change the world, and on a daily scale, you just want to brush your teeth at night when you don't feel like it. And from the large to the small, you discover that you have all of the information necessary to make those decisions correctly, and yet you never make those decisions correctly. So writing the book that became The Flinch was a long sort of introspective analysis of why we can't do the things that we want to do very, very badly, and what the solution is, or the attempted solution.
So I can understand how you can identify a flinch in the moment, right? Obviously you're flinching, but how do you become aware of them beforehand?
I think you have to recognize that fundamentally you are both a pattern processing machine and a pattern following machine yourself. So if you're following a bunch of patterns, your job is to sort of be a level above, almost the way that people who meditate are a level above their own thoughts. So here you're a level above your own emotional process. And so you can recognize when it is that you're reacting a certain way. And that can go from, I want to start this company, but I'm really afraid that I'm going to fail, to I want to make this jump, for people who are into, acrobatics or anything else, parkour, what have you. And I'm afraid of this, of falling and dying or whatever. So you have to, it's an innate recognition that you're an animal and a machine, and what that animal and that machine is meant to do. And fundamentally, your body, just all that it wants from you is just to reproduce as often as possible and die. Right. It doesn't care about anything else.
Sure.
It doesn't want you to write a book.
Right.
It doesn't want you to change the world. It doesn't even want you to live that long. It doesn't care. And so fundamentally, we're in a kind of weird place in society where our brain is running on what a friend of mine would call jungle surplus hardware. And we want to do things that are totally counter and against to what our jungle surplus hardware wants.
Okay. So when you first encounter a flinch, right, what is the first thing you should be doing?
To me, it is step away. I'll tell you a great story about this. I was talking to the number 2 in the largest security company in America. And the guy is called, the name of the company is Gavin DeBecker Company. He wrote a book called The Gift of Fear, been on Oprah, blah, blah, blah. It's about how to prevent rape and how to prevent murder, you getting murdered and all these things. He writes every security book that security experts use in America right now. And his company protects 7 out of the top 10 most at-risk individuals in America. So Britney Spears, Madonna, Lady Gaga, those kinds of people. And so we're talking about risk and how to assess whether or not risk is correct, whether danger is real or not. Fundamentally, we're in this place where we are thinking about our emotion, but more often than not, we're trained to dismiss it. So you're sitting in the subway, and a guy sits next to you and he creeps you out. We think about the upside and downside of that on an intellectual level. The downside is that your feeling was right and he stabs you and you die. The upside is that nothing happens. But if you walk away, you fundamentally create a better situation for yourself. But people, they ignore that instinct. They ignore that feeling of, hey, I should be stepping away right now and this is weird. And this is how people end up making the wrong decisions in the bad moments. So I ask him, what is the thing that you have to do in a position where you feel like you're at risk and you might, something bad might happen? He says, fundamentally, the first thing you have to do is you have to step away from the situation and analyze it from far away. Because you might be right. But you can't assume that you're wrong and you can't assume that you're right. You could just assume that you're unable to process that decision properly, step away from it, and then decide from another vantage point. And if you can do that, you're fundamentally, every day, you're going to make better decisions. And if you can make everyday decisions in a better way, you will have a better life. Simple enough.
So recognize that you cannot process it.
Yeah, because we're running on jungle surplus hardware. We're running on a reptilian hindbrain that wants us to reproduce and die, and that fundamentally thinks that this is a risky thing. I just hit my arm, or if I fall over, or if I feel a sense of unbalance or something like that. The brain is meant to tell you, get away from this as fast as you can, because it doesn't know about modern medicine. And it doesn't know about the fact that you can heal a broken bone. It thinks if you have something bad happen to you, the risk of death is huge. But the problem is that that brain that's telling you that is wrong. We're in a place where it's fundamentally almost impossible to die. I could literally, there's a table right in front of me made out of glass, I could throw myself onto the table, I could attempt to even cut myself in the face or the throat, and before I did that, all these things would stop. You would find a way to stop me, you would find a way to stop me. It's impossible for me to die. So our ability to assess risk is fundamentally flawed in modern society, and so we make cautious decisions for no reason.
So our physical capabilities, our fight or flight mechanism, hasn't really mapped to the relative safety of our modern world. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. Our relative safety, huge safety, this most safe time in history, in which being a stunt driver is considered to be an acceptable profession.
Yes, right.
It's like, oh, I'm a stunt driver. Like, are you crazy?
Sure.
No. Oh, that's cool, man. How do you prevent yourself from dying while you're on fire?
Right.
If that's a safe decision, we are in a safe environment, and we have to ignore what our brain tells us in the moment.
Interesting. So last question for you. Who are the people or projects that you're watching these days?
I tend to watch people who have skin in the game and who see the future and different versions of the future. So a lot of angel investors, venture capitalists. I'm a big fan of Peter Thiel. I know he's a polarizing figure, but I like to watch people who do crazy things and take crazy risks. And I have really, really big ideas. And so there's all those kinds of people that are coming up with small little startups. And what I try to do is I take these startup methodologies and these startup, the way that they assess risk, and I take that and I'm trying to apply it in a non-startup environment. Apply the models and the things that we've learned from startups and apply them into culture and motivation and things like that, and see if we come up with a better society or a better individual as a result.
Interesting. Well, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.